Hey there, my name is Bruce. I just got back from a California road trip in my 62 Chevy Impala SS back there. I did this video kind of as a follow-up. I realized that I put a video of this car on my channel 10 years ago, back in 2012. And it was called Dad's 62 Impala. So you can go back and check that out if you'd like. But if you haven't seen that video, this car, my mom and dad bought this car brand new in Baird, Texas, just outside of Abilene. And when I was first born in 1965, I rode from the hospital in it and then learned how to drive in it. And my dad gave me this car when I was about 18, and I've actually now owned it 39 years, so I've actually now owned it longer than he did. I'm now retired. I just decided to take a road trip and wanted to do something different. I hadn't really driven that car a lot of miles at any one time in quite a few years. So she did great though, 2,680 miles. One little hiccup on day two, but that was because the alternator went out, and I replaced it in a parking lot. And after that, she did great. Went to by the Grand Canyon. We went up to Amarillo and then hit I-40 and as much of the old Route 66 as we could, all the way out to Needles, California. I didn't go all the way into Santa Monica because I didn't want to get into all that traffic and stuff out there, but leisurely trip, just me and the car. And so there's not a lot of videos from outside the car. It's some still photos and a lot of videos from inside the car and stuff like that. So, but I just wanted to document my trip. I'm real happy with the car and how she did. And then I've also got my 63 SS sitting here, which I finished up about 6 years ago. And I've been driving that one quite a bit too. So I guess the thing is just get them out and drive them. But this is just a little like I said, just documenting my trip. So hope you enjoy it. All right, I guess we'll see how this goes. 2,600 miles on a 60-year-old car. So we'll see how it all plays out by the end.
How long are you going to be gone?
14 days.
Any special things along the way?
It's going to take me 2 days to get up to Amarillo, and then from there it's all going to be US 40 and the old US Route 66.
What are you going to be excited about the most?
Most of it's when I get to the other end, like around Kingman and going on Oatman, and there's just a lot of cool stuff, old Route 66 stuff over there to do. But like today and tomorrow is just getting from basically here up past Amarillo. So today I'm just going to try to get to Abilene and then past Amarillo the next day.
In case I didn't make it clear, Lucy is my 62 Chevy Impala.
So, just barely missed the hailstorm. I knew it was coming, so just about the time I got out here, it was just starting to hail. So I jumped in her and moved her over into the cover real quick. And it passed pretty quick, so welcome to West Texas, right? Crazy storms all the time.
So this is the house we lived in when I was little, and that's the house we lived in when my mom and dad bought this car back in Abilene, Texas. So this is the same house, and that's me. I'm the little guy with the blue cup, and there's that same 62 Chevy back in the background. And this was our only breakdown. Day two, I had to replace the alternator before we got out of Abilene. And that is the Cadillac Ranch just west of Amarillo on I-40.
So this is coming into Adrian, where the midpoint for Route 66 is. And this, I think, is part of the alignment of the old original Route 66 right here that we're on. So 1,140 miles in each direction, it says.
This was the cool little town of Tucumcari. I really liked it.
And there goes my new inspiration right there. That's Danny. He's driven that custom 56 Chevy across the country. This is about his 5th trip. He's heading from Los Angeles to Norman, Oklahoma. And just a real cool guy. I met here last night at the hotel. Had a really cool car.
This is the cool little car museum in Santa Rosa, New Mexico.
We are at the Rio Puerco Bridge. This is part of the old original alignment of the Route 66. And I think this was still in use up till, I want to say almost the 60s or 70s. But it was built, I think, in the 30s. One of the stops I wanted to make today over here is while we're still in New Mexico. Pretty cool place though. But man, you can really appreciate that new, all these guys blowing the horns at me. You can really appreciate that new interstate highway when you see what this old road looked like from back in the day. So this is where the old Route 66 just parallels Interstate 40. I'll try to drive as much of it as I can on the old alignment. We should be getting up to Dead Man's Curve up here pretty shortly. I got off Interstate 40 in Flagstaff and headed north up toward the Grand Canyon. This was a really pretty drive. This was the cool little town of Williams. I really enjoyed this place even though it wasn't there very long. This is one of the sections along the old Route 66 that had the really cool old red and white Burma shave signs. They were actually pretty funny. So this is Juan Delgadillo's Snow Cap Diner. One of the main places I really wanted to stop along here, so I'm getting ready to grab some lunch. So this is the Grand Canyon Caverns. They still do tours down in the caverns, and they have a RV park and a motel here. It's kind of a cool little place.
I didn't spend much time, but just wanted to stop in on my way by. So this was one more place I really wanted to stop. It's the Hackberry General Store. Really cool place on the old Route 66. Man, the one thing that was crazy was how strong the wind was on this trip. I was fighting a headwind most of the way when I was going westbound. The Kingman Visitor Center and the Powerhouse Museum was a pretty cool stop. A lot of stuff to see in there. You could probably spend a couple hours in there. So I stayed at the El Travator Motel in Kingman. Their claim to fame is that they have the world's longest Route 66 map. The next morning I hit the road for the California state line and on over into Needles, California. That's as far as we were going to go on this trip. So after getting over into Needles, we turned around and headed back east and took the old alignment of Route 66 from about the California state line back over through Oatman, which was a really cool little town. Man, driving these old parts of this road were really cool. They really made me stop and think about what it was like back in the day for all those folks who were headed west for trying to find a better life out in California. And this was called the Mother Road back in the day. You know, it's really neat to drive on these old sections like this. Here's Oatman.
with all the donkeys. I still think this would have been a lot cooler back a few years ago before it got so touristy and just packed full of people. The street was completely full of people just now when I was walking up. Oh, look at there. There's old Lucy. Here's the old Oatman Hotel where I'm going to try to see if I can grab a burger right quick for lunch. And my God, the road getting here though, ooh, Lordy, was something else.
If you make it into Oatman before noon, you can catch the gunfight they have every day.
So we are just almost at the summit here. We're climbing up over, I think it's called Sitgraves Pass, which back in the 20s and 30s was about the hardest part of this old Route 66. Just came out of Oatman, and man, this road's something else. I haven't been able to get out of second gear most of the way just because the tight turns and the crazy uphill, but pretty cool.
Just at the bottom of Sitgraves Pass on the east side, this is a cool little stop that I wanted to make too. It's a little place called Cool Springs. It's a really neat little stop. So once we made it into California, we turned around and headed back toward home, back toward Texas. We went to California in this car when I was 2 years old, and I'm now 57. I just wanted to repeat the trip. I kind of skipped over Winslow on the way out west, so I wanted to stop off here on the way back and at least hit the standing on the corner park downtown. And this was a cool little motel I stayed in. I really enjoyed it. Delta Motel in Winslow. So this is turning south toward Roswell from Klein's Corners. And man, they're not playing around out here in New Mexico. There's just miles and miles and miles without a gas station, convenience store, or anything. And not a lot of cars on the road either. I think the longest distance I covered out here without a gas station or a convenience store was 96 miles.